Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to another Limbus Company video. Today we're back with another classic Lei Heng fight with the brand new capstone identity of Canto 9. Technically, this identity is the Inky nurse father, except it's not actually a nurse father because it's Ryoshu herself. And obviously, it makes sense to fight Lei Heng with this identity in particular, considering, yeah, his taunt at the end of the fight where he mentions that Ryoshu should unsheath her blade, so now that she has this identity, she is capable of unsheathing her blade. Of course, she doesn't actually use Arashiki, however you say that, her sword's name, because she's using the pinky sword instead of the memory erasing sword. But it's still like she still has the ability to erase her memories. I don't know, maybe she does. Maybe she is actually using both swords in some of her animations, or specifically when she kills the House of Spiders identities. In any case, this fight was definitely a little harder to get off the ground than I initially thought it would be. Not because there's anything like... Not because this identity is like hard to play with. Like, this fight is not difficult in the slightest when using this identity. She's very powerful, she has a fairly strong evade, and it's just like... That's all you really need to beat Lei Heng, honestly. And her entire gimmick revolves around basically kind of sort of soloing with her, as, you know, she literally kills her own teammates all the time. And it's like, if you use her defense skill, it automatically kills one of the House of Spiders identities after they've used all of their skills for a turn. It's a guaranteed kill most of the time. Unless you have like an absolutely absurd amount of shield, it's a guaranteed kill. But the main reason why it was actually somewhat difficult to start this fight, I would say, is because I was doing a little bit of experimenting with this identity's passive, specifically the one where she is supposed to get extra skill slots the more House of Spiders identity she kills. She should get one extra skill slot for every 3 she kills, as long as, you know, you can't gain any extra skill slots through some other method. If there's nobody there to substitute or retreat, it's supposed to give her a skill slot, but for some reason, either it's bugged and doesn't work, or you need to actually be running a full team of all 14 sinners in order for it to actually give her any skill slots. Which means that that passive is pretty much useless, I'd say. Like, the only time it's not actually going to be useless is if you are actually using all of the House of Spiders identities, specifically once we have them all at our disposal. And that's because if you do run the full House of Spiders team, once we have it, you will have her plus Gregor sitting on the field. And nobody else. Everyone else will be killed by Ryoshu, but Gregor is live. He's fine. He's not a member of the House of Spiders. Or maybe he will be the Thumb. I don't know. I was kind of thinking like Heathcliff is a better fit for the Thumb, considering his whole story is kind of about him being abused by the people who adopted him. And yeah, that just kind of fits more for the Thumb, but I guess it could be Gregor with his own personal like history with the Thumb as well, but I don't know. I'm leaning more towards Heathcliff for the Thumb personally. It just fits better, but in either case, it's either Heathcliff or Gregor who's going to be chilling on the battlefield with Ryoshu after she's slaughtered all of her teammates. And in that case, then she will be able to gain the extra skill slots. But even in that case, it's like you'll never reach the max amount of skill slots with her because she can only gain up to 3 extra. So that caps her out at 4, basically. And then +1 for Gregor, which is -2 for the... You're 2 down for the full of 7 that you should have. And it's just, it's very strange to me, because it's worded like you should be able to get the skill slots as long as she has killed the required amount to actually get them, and there is nobody in the backup. Because how it is written is, it's specifically written, if there are no identities left to substitute or return, Blade of the House of Spiders Ryoshu gains +1 skill slot for every 3 of the House of Spiders allies that are defeated, max of 3. And you know, if you have not slotted in any of the identities to be in the backup, or if you're just not using a full team to begin with, then you have no identities that can substitute or return, therefore she should be able to get the extra skill slots, but she doesn't for some reason. Maybe it's a unique quirk to Lei Heng's fight specifically, but I don't know, it feels like it's either bugged or worded improperly or something. It doesn't work right now, I guess. And that's very unfortunate because I wanted to actually do this fight while using all of the House of Spiders identities that we currently have access to, but in order to do that, then Ryoshu will be stuck at 1 skill slot for the entire fight, and that's just no good. So compromising and only using the Nurse Fathers specifically, because they are the ones you want to kill the most, as they give her extra coins on her Enhanced Skill 3, which is pretty cool. Other than that, though, there's not really much else to really talk about for this fight. It's very, very easy. I mean, as you can clearly see, as long as you're just clashing with everything and can actually win the clashes, you just dodge everything with your evade instead, and yeah, Lei Heng literally cannot touch Ryoshu. And this isn't even her at her max power, considering it's literally impossible for her to be at her max power currently, as, yeah, her Enhanced Skill 3 is missing 2 coins. I think I said that already, but that means that that's a lot of extra damage that she could be doing that she just isn't, because we don't have the identities that would enable that to happen. Which it is kind of a little strange that an identity like this, whose entire gimmick revolves around killing certain specific other identities, would be introduced before we actually have all of those identities in play. It's definitely an interesting choice. I don't know if I would have done it, but maybe our dear director has a vision I can't realize. I mean, granted, they did do it also with Hong Lu's capstone identity as well. I wouldn't really say like the most important aspects of his kit were missing, and this identity has enough currently for her to be satisfactory, I would say. I am definitely not disappointed in this identity, despite the fact that she is lacking a fairly substantial amount of her kit. And that's the biggest reason why I'm like, it's a little strange, because Hong Lu, while some of the Heisho identities were introduced later on, and there is still the potential for him to get more, they don't really change much about his own personal kit, other than giving him a few extra, like, minor benefits here or there, whereas Ryoshu, yeah, like I said, she gets an extra coin on her Enhanced Skill 3, and she gets the minor benefits similar to like how Lord Hong Lu does. All in all, it's not that big of a deal, but if I was the one in charge of it, I probably would have introduced her after the rest of the House of Spiders. She would literally be the last identity. But then again, in that case, she probably would be quite literally the last identity for Canto 9, and I don't think they've actually done that for any of the other cantos, where they have the main identity be the actual final one. It's always been something that leans into the next canto, usually. But even in that case, it's like you still probably could have introduced Ryoshu later on, because the actual final identity would be the same regardless of when Ryoshu was introduced, I'd say. But in any case, Lei Heng, absolute pushover when Ryoshu decides to unsheath her blade. As he says, if you really want to win, she needs to unsheath her blade.
여기까지 온 것도 징한 일이다. 근데 요시히데야, 이기려면 그 칼을 싸게 뽑았어야지.